Hey, springy strangers. Welcome to another episode of the Strange Sessions. I'm Krista. With me is Kurt. And I think maybe, potentially, it might finally sort of be kind of spring.
I don't know.
We just had 2 feet of snow.
We just had the craziest blizzard I've been in a long time.
Yeah, it was wild. And then like 3 days later, it was almost 70 degrees.
It was just a weird, we were sick. You know, I messaged you one day that week and I'm like just
Wednesday
so you know,
or
I'm like,
Thursday?
I kind of don't feel great. And I didn't know that you were sick. And then you and Jim ended up with COVID.
Yeah,
and
we still kind of have it.
I just had this cold that it was just miserable. And then we got hit.
You still could have had COVID.
I didn't. They tested me at work every day when I didn't
Oh,
feel
every
good.
day?
Yeah,
Okay,
when
good.
I did not feel good, they
Because
tested me
my test
every
was
day.
negative at
Yeah.
first, and then it was positive.
But
2
I
days
just
later.
felt miserable, and the weekend we were going to record, that Sunday was that blizzard, and I ended up staying.
Like garbage.
I ended up staying over at work that night, and thank God I did, because I wouldn't have gotten there the next day with the snow. I slept down the closed hallway, and there was nothing spooky. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed.
Such a good opportunity to
I know.
Did you record or anything? Like leave a recorder out?
I did, but I didn't listen to it yet.
Okay. Hey, you don't know.
I
then.
don't know. Got
Could
somebody
be one of
talking to
those
me.
things
Yeah.
where nothing happened.
Do your spiel.
Oh yeah. If you don't want to sit through this,
And
guys,
listen to me.
if you've been here before, you know. If this is your first time tuning in. Oh my God, tuning in.
Yeah,
First of all, I'm sorry.
We're all discombobulated this morning, and I don't know why.
We've recorded once or twice now.
Once. Yeah.
So we just came back from our long winter break out of hibernation, and our first episode was a little rough, and then we both got sick and didn't record. So this is only our second episode.
So don't be expecting a 5-star podcast.
Yeah,
today.
and I apologize. I'm not 100%, so I'm...
No, we got cough drops down here. I can't shake this runny nose I got.
Anyway, if you don't want to sit through this, Kurt will post the timestamp of the actual topic
Yes,
start.
he will.
So we won't be offended if you fast forward. But
And
we're
this
going to do a
episode-
taste test and read a letter. And wait, the letter's happening at the end? Or
The letters are happening. We got 2 different letters to read. They were happening at the end.
At the end, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What was I going to say? This is coming out super early tomorrow morning because I said I'd work, so I go into work 7 to 11 tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I did a half day, so I'll put it out at like 5 in the morning my time.
Cool. I need to move this.
I want to give shout outs to the newest people that joined our group, and that is nobody. We had no new strangers.
Our views on YouTube are
we're
sad.
We're plummeting. We're free fall right now.
I mean, if you're just joining us, this is our final season. We've been doing this for almost 10 years now.
Did I talk about it on here that I looked up one day? When we started this in 2017, there were like 45,000 podcasts, and today there's like 3 million.
Yeah, it's insane.
Which is just, when we started, there weren't that many. And then I was listening to Jim Harold's Paranormal Report on the way here, and that's like it's a weekly what's going on in the news of the paranormal. And he was talking about him having problems with like not enough subscribers and watchers anymore, and he said a lot of it he thinks is because all of these big time celebrities now have their own podcasts, so nobody is really listening to the small mom and pop podcasts anymore.
But Jim Harold's like a staple.
Yeah,
he is who he's one of the first podcasts I ever listened to.
Yeah, for a lot of people,
his campfire stories.
Yeah, but that's what he says, is that his paranormal report is great. His paranormal the paranormal podcast where he interviews people, but he says the one that everybody wants is Campfire, so
I think everybody just likes hearing spooky stories.
I just think that when we started this, there weren't that many podcasters around.
No, there weren't.
And now everybody and their brother's got a podcast,
Well, when we first started, you still needed to buy equipment to actually sound good.
Yeah.
And now you don't need a whole lot to have good quality sound. And now you have AI too.
Yeah, which is going to make...
So,
like I said, we could feasibly program our voices into AI and then just have it make a random episode each week of us talking.
Well, I told you Steve from Haunted UK. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Guys, go listen to his podcast. It's amazing. He's so good that people accuse him of being AI because he's from the UK, obviously, and he has an amazing voice.
Nobody accuses us of being AI.
So now I notice he's doing a lot of videos on Instagram, and I wonder if part of that is to show people he's not AI. Yeah. If that's not why he's doing it, sorry. But
like our people joining the group has just dwindled, so nobody joined. But I do want to give a special shout out to Eric, our listener, who is going through some very, very tough health. Yeah. So hang in there, buddy. We love you, and we are thinking of you.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
Actually.
So love you lots. Do we have housekeeping? I got a couple things written down.
Well, I would say that our you had posted our schedule of like what days episodes are coming on, and now that's all going to be pushed back like a day.
We skipped, and
we have a lot of breaks built into this season, just so we don't. I don't know. I don't think either one of us wants to end this season feeling burnt out.
Yeah,
so.
No.
And we're kind of toying with, do we keep doing the side sessions? Do we not? Because we're losing subscribers left and right on the side sessions too. Yeah. Again, none of this offends us. Like, we are on our way out, and part of it is.
But that's why I wanted to tell them early that we were stopping.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be one of those podcasts that just
ends abruptly. And nobody's prepared for it.
We've always been super
but it's
transparent
funny.
With
our views on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to average 200 to 300 views, which is nothing. Mm-hmm. Some of them got up to 1,000. Now I think our last one we barely even break 100 now on a normal episodes, which to me is like, okay, we're ready to. We've never tried to get views or listeners.
No.
They just came to us, and the fact that it's kind of puttering out at the same time that we are, to me, is a sign.
Yeah, it's a sign to hang it up. But we are at 399.7 thousand downloads, so we're almost at the 400,000 downloads.
Dang.
I don't think we're going to hit 500,000.
No, but we'll hit 400.
We'll hit 400,000
if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And then you made a decision on your next.
Yeah, I just want everybody seemed to like the name Strange and Confused for the 70s for the 70s podcast about paranormal and mysterious stuff, but everything would be in the 70s. So Strange and Confused is what it's going to be. I made a couple just messing around logos that I really like. Did you see those? I think I sent you a couple. Yeah.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I talked to Brian, who did Transatlantic Ramblings, because what I'm kind of thinking about doing is having a big group of rotating co-hosts so that people don't get burned out on having to do this all the time. So one week it could be this person and this person and me. The next week it could be this person and me. One week I might not be there and it could be 3 other people.
Are you going to do weekly, bi-weekly? What are
Probably
you gonna do?
bi-weekly. Yeah. But so, I mean, if you're interested in being a co-host, let me know.
Send them your audition tapes.
Yeah, send me your audition tapes. Casting couch.
And it's all going to be remote. Right?
Yeah, it's going to well, it sucks because what I would love to do is to have a place like this and have it decked out in 70s stuff with 70s toys on the table, like 70s posters on the wall.
I bet you'd get some people who would travel here.
I don't know, but that's it's
not here.
It's all right, everybody. We're meeting here.
It's not going to be at my house.
We're meeting here at Krista's house. Give you the address later. But no, so I'm excited. I'm really excited about the Strange and Confused.
I think you should take a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
And use it for decoration.
Yep. And you're one of the rotating co-hosts
I'll
if
pop
you ever
in
want
once
to.
in a while, yeah.
And I
think I'm going to make us each a scrapbook with all of this stuff.
Yes, you should. And I want to give a big thanks to Tim Swartz for having
cool.
His book just came out called The Persistence of Ghosts, and he asked me to write a chapter in there. And it's blowing me away that Brad Steiger's in there, like well-known people, and so I'm in there too on the cover. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think I'll have a link to that in the group. And other than that, all I really have is that we're going to be reading 2 letters later. The one from Erica is long, so we're holding these off to the end. But I really want to read her whole letter because I really like it.
Cool.
That's what we got.
Should we do a taste test?
Tom, are we looking at?
We're ahead of schedule.
Okay, let's do the taste test.
Cool. I think this was still from the package from
England.
England, yeah. Okay.
That looks very British.
Romany's chocolate-covered Kendall mint cake. I mean, it just sounds good. So I'm going to take a picture.
I think to them a cake is like a cookie or
and they call a cookie a biscuit. So who the heck knows what this is?
Yep. And they put stuff in the boot of their car.
Yes. And they have a garden instead of a yard.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. I can take this. I always accidentally take... Although we don't even have that anymore.
Do we have any other housekeeping, or is that it? I have Sickness and Blizzard, Strange and Confused, book, The Persistence of Ghosts, and Letters Later. That's what I have for housekeeping.
I think that's it. Okay, let me open this up.
Have you watched any more of Secret of Skinwalker Ranch?
No.
It's so fascinating.
Ooh. It almost seems brownie-like a little bit.
Yes, I think that's what their cakes are like brownies.
I mean, I think they have cake.
If it is mint
too.
and chocolate in there, you got me right there,
Right?
because I love mint and chocolate
And
together.
it's like segmented, so I'm just gonna cut or break a segment up. Maybe, maybe. I mean, it looks segmented. Oh, there we go. Ooh. It looks like
it's like
really thick
filled with-
peppermint
it's-
patty or something. Okay, let me.
I think I'm going to... Oh, this smells good. Oh, my God.
Trying to get a picture of the cross section. I
That
just hit my
smells
face on the microphone.
That smells so good. You hit your face on the
I
microphone?
did. Oh, it smells like
It smells
the
like a
thin
York
mint a little
peppermint.
bit.
Yeah.
Or a York. Okay, are you ready?
It's going to be all about the consistency.
Yeah,
'cause
for sure.
I'm curious if it's going to be like
Is it
creamy
chewy
or
or
chewy.
yeah?
Ready?
Let's do it. Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Okay. Okay. This is not at all what I was expecting.
It's good.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know this mint stuff would go all the way through. I thought it was like a layer.
I didn't expect it to be so hard.
Yeah.
I know, that's what she said.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be soft in the middle.
Wow.
Like no matter what we say.
It
It has really good flavor.
But it's very hard.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I call it a cake.
No, this is not a cake.
A bar. Mm-hmm. Holy buckets, that's hard.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to call a cake. Wow. Okay.
You can have this one. Or give that to Jim.
I don't know if he'll like that.
Give it to Lucy.
It's got chocolate on it. You trying to kill my dog?
No. She's my girl. She's my spirit animal.
Oh, what are you giving it? It's minty fresh.
It is. It's almost like a toothpaste kind of flavor.
I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Oh, my tea closed by itself. Must be haunted.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. It's the kind of thing where you finish it and you're like, I could have another bite of that.
At work the other day, I was in a room because somebody moved out and I was cleaning it. And whenever I'm in a room cleaning...
They moved out?
Down there. They moved out.
Okay.
Did. I think back home.
Okay.
Whenever I'm down in this one section, they have cable, so I turn on the 70s music channel. So, and I know weird stuff has happened down there, so I'm in the bathroom cleaning the mirror, and all of a sudden it was playing Pinball Wizard, and all of a sudden it switched to a 60s music, and I'm like, what the heck? So I go out and look, and the channel has changed.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm like, this is weird. So then I go back in the bathroom, put back on 70s, go back in the bathroom, all of a sudden it's 60s music again. It was one of the other people from housekeeping with their remote control, like going
Messing with
yeah,
you?
messing with me, and I'm all like, "Is there a ghost in here that likes 60s
like
music?"
60s
And
music better.
yeah. This is like chewy. I
Yeah.
mean, this stays.
I'm going to be nibbling on it throughout. It's that thing where I'm like, do I like this or not? And now I can't stop eating it.
I really do like it, but I expected it to be soft.
I'm actually going up to an 8 now.
Okay, I'm still at 8. So today's episode is for Stephanie, who was one of the co-winners, co-first place of the trivia contest.
Did you send them the pictures of the hats?
I did not.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Because I'm going to
I
ship
didn't even
each one of them a
contact them,
hat.
and with all the sickness
Oh.
and blizzards going on, I didn't do that. You guys will get your prizes. It might be 10 years. We might be on like a 3rd podcast by then, but
It'll be part of the Strange 70s. No, wait.
Strange and confused.
Strange and Confused. I'm
I like
never going to
Strange
remember
70s
this.
too, though.
Okay, one more bite and then I'm done eating this.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to listen to this.
So I know we're just wow, that is minty. So Stephanie did so good. She got co-first place, and her choice was Strange States, Washington.
There better be lots of Bigfoot in here.
There's not.
Oh,
There's not
Rude.
because
We're going to do a Bigfoot episode.
we're going to do a Bigfoot stories episode, but Bigfoot does come up in here.
Okay.
I thought about
You
looking
can't
up.
do Washington without
No.
talking about Bigfoot at least.
I thought about looking up, but I'm like, we want to do a Bigfoot stories episode before we're done. You know,
Ooh. Okay.
I know.
Wow.
I'm talking while I finish this one part.
Whenever you tell me to do that, my mind goes blank. I'm like, words. Think of words, Krista.
What have you been watching?
Oh, I just finished Bridgerton and also Queen Charlotte, which is the prequel to Bridgerton. That's pretty much it.
Did you watch
I actually
the first?
canceled Netflix
No.
And it ends April 1st or
Yeah,
something.
the price just went up too.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many good free streaming services now. I don't.
Did you watch the first season of Paradise?
No, I don't even know what Paradise is.
It's so good. It's on Hulu.
See, that's a paid.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any more paid. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
I love
if
Tubi.
something intrigues me enough, I'll pay to watch. I'll just long enough to watch the show and then I'll cancel.
Yeah.
I do that with Apple TV all the time.
I do that with gift cards. Like if I want to watch something on Hulu, I'll get a gift card. So I got it for like 2 months.
Okay. What is Paradise about?
I can't really talk about it without giving it away, but it's good.
Is it paranormal in any way?
Not really.
I'll Google it.
Yeah, Google it. But it's
Google
very
it.
good because at the end, there's like something that happens at the end of the first episode where you're like, whoa. And that kind of explains what the show is about.
Ah.
It's so good, though. And then there's a girl on there in the second season, and I'm like, it drove me crazy because I'm like, I know her. And I'm like, who is this? And then it finally, I didn't look it up. I wanted to figure it out. And it was, what's her name that was dating.
What's her name?
What's her name? She was dating.
Sounds like you really figured it out.
She was dating the Packer quarterback guy, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Olivia Munn?
No.
Oh.
She was in Divergent, the Divergent.
Oh, Shailene Woodley.
Yes.
They were engaged, actually.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's who it is.
Okay.
She looks so much older.
I like her.
I do too. And
Wow, we lied. If you said the timestamp was like a couple minutes ago,
really?
we're not talking about the topic yet.
Okay. I just want to say I got giddy one day last week because one of my biggest crushes responded to my comment on Instagram with 3 hearts.
Wow.
Ginger Z. I adore Ginger Z.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my God. She's like the weather girl that's on Good Morning America.
Kurt's all insulted that
I would 100% give it up for her.
Oh,
like
okay.
I love Ginger Z.
All right.
I got her. I have her books, her autobiographies. I have.
Wow. Why am I just hearing about her now?
She's like my biggest crush.
Wow. You've been sleeping on that one.
I can't believe you don't know who she is.
Well, fine. I have to Google it now.
Okay.
Ginger Z.
Z-E-E.
Okay. Stay tuned, everyone, while I
and I'm having a drink of coffee.
Z.
This is why we're in. We never got our stuff. We never got our stuff together in 10 years of doing this. We never got it figured out.
Why am I so disappointed that she doesn't have red hair? Because her name's Ginger.
That's true.
Oh, she's very beautiful.
Yes, she is. She'll be mine one day, even though she's married.
She's married. I apologize for continually clearing my throat. I'm trying to shut my microphone off when I do it, but okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Fun facts about Washington. I would love
to
visit Washington. I really would.
Me too.
I think we talked about that in our side sessions about our state bucket lists
yes.
that we really want to see.
Yep.
I didn't realize
anywhere in the Pacific Northwest.
I don't think I realized until this episode quite how wooded Washington is.
Yeah.
But it's like very
There's
wooded.
A reason that's Bigfoot territory.
Yep. Fun
and
fact,
Oregon.
number 5 at the end. Oh, these all come from onlyinyourstate.com and seattlerefined.com. Number 5, at the end of World War II, a seemingly ordinary residential neighborhood emerged in the Georgetown area of Seattle, consisting of houses, trees, lawns, and cars. But in reality, this was no ordinary neighborhood. This neighborhood was constructed on the roof of Boeing's Plant 2 in an attempt to hide the production of the Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress. Up close, it might look like a hastily thrown together movie set, but from the air, it was the perfect disguise to keep the airplane manufacturing plant safe from aerial bombers, and it was created with the help of Hollywood set designers. I think that's cool that they had like a fake town on top of their roof. Fun fact number 4. In 1967, Joel Pritchard and Bill Bell were looking for something to do at Pritchard's home on Bainbridge Island. They fashioned a game for the family to play together on the property's old badminton court using ping pong paddles and a perforated plastic ball. In 1972, they formed a corporation to protect the creation of their new sport, pickleball, and the rest is history. Like,
It's been around that long?
I didn't know about it until I was at the middle school in 2020 because people were mentioning it. And I'm like, what the hell is pickleball?
It's so popular. It's so popular now.
Popular now.
Popular now.
So, but I didn't know it's been around since 72. Like, it's almost like a Mandela
That's very
effect
surprising
thing.
to me.
It's like, how did I never hear about that before?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Fun fact number...
Have you ever played it?
No.
No, me
Oh,
either.
God. My plain sports days are, are done. In 1998, fun fact number 3, 1998, a website created by Lyle Zapato appeared online asking readers to help save the endangered Pacific Northwest tree octopus. This majestic creature was able to live both on land and in water and was said to live in the Olympic National Forest and nearby rivers, spawning in water where its eggs were laid.
This is a thing?
The Pacific Northwest tree octopus was said to prey on insects, small vertebrates, and bird eggs, and its major predator was said to be Sasquatch, along with bald eagles and cats. The website was put up because the Pacific Northwest tree octopus was an endangered species threatened by habitat loss, overexploitation for the fashion industry, and eradication of a nuisance animal by loggers. Of course, it didn't really exist.
Okay.
Lyle Zapato was the pseudonym of a comedy writer, but so many people believed it that the website has now become known as a school lesson to teach children that you can't always believe what you read online.
There you go. Oh, geez.
Seriously, save the Pacific Northwest tree octopus.
Yeah,
people.
man.
I love that one of the things was overexploitation for the fashion industry. Right there should be a sign that, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact number 2, I like this one. In 1938, cross-country arch rivals the Colfax Bulldogs and the St. John Eagles met in a bitterly contested football game. St. John emerged as the victors with a score of 14-0, but the defeated Colfax Bulldogs did not forget. They ended up meeting on the gridiron again for a rematch 50 years later. In 1988, most of the players were nearly 70 years old, but that did not stop the 51 players from both teams from playing each other once again in an epic grudge match 50 years in the making. I know, I like that.
That's pretty cool.
The idea of nearly 70-year-old men playing a football game is entertaining, but it was a touch game. They made it touch football.
Sure. Okay.
So you don't want to see 70-year-old guys running around tackling each other.
Yikes.
Those present at the 1938 game remember it as being one of the best games they have ever seen. Even as the players moved on to college, got jobs, and raised their families, that game still lingered in the back of their minds. 50 years after the game, former Colfax resident turned movie star John Crawford was among a group of residents rallying the Colfax community and Bulldog alumni to memorialize the game by holding the 1988 rematch. The game was played at Colfax High, but this time the outcome was different. The Colfax Bulldogs earned their payback, beating the Eagles with a score of 6-0. The Codger Bowl, as it became known, I love that, was unlike any other event to have taken place in the region. Many Colfax residents felt that the uniqueness of the game was, and in and of itself, worthy of remembrance. In 1991, John LeBen from Idlewild, California, was the artist chosen to commemorate the event, which he did by using a chainsaw to expertly carve the faces of all 51 players. That's got to be hard.
Wow.
All 51 players into 5 60-foot-tall cedar poles.
Oh, my God.
Each player even has their original leather football helmets and wrinkled, aged faces added to the detail. Every face is meticulously cut, including their last names and jersey numbers.
Is there a picture of this somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
He agreed to do the carving for a $10,000 donation, of which only $960 has yet been paid to the artist. It took 4 months to complete, and he sunk $5,000 of his own money into it, expecting to receive the originally agreed upon sum.
Rude.
The dejected LeBain still harbors resentment against both the peace and the city of Colfax. In a 1988 interview, he said that the experience was the lowest moment of his life and that if his car worked, he would, quote, go back and set a match to it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that's
pretty crappy.
I know. I love that whole story,
Yeah.
everything about that. And, of course, with number 1, you know what we got for number 1.
Crazy laws.
Crazy laws. In Everett, Washington, it's illegal to display hypnotized people in store windows.
So this had to have happened.
That's the thing. In Seattle, you can be fined for bringing an ugly horse into the city, and it's illegal to fish while sitting on a camel.
Well, obviously.
And in Skamania County, it's illegal to harm or harass Bigfoot.
Well.
And in Washington State, it's illegal to eat a lollipop in bed or while you are driving in a car. And in the state, this is unfortunate, in the state, it is illegal to sleep in another person's outhouse. So, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
In 1981, the town of Linden famously enacted an ordinance banning dancing in any venue that served alcohol. One city council member described dancing as, quote, evil, warning that it could lead to adultery or even, quote, guys dancing with other guys' wives.
Oh, my.
The law gained national attention, and some people think it was the inspiration for what movie?
I don't know.
Footloose. And remained in place for
such a great
years.
movie.
In 1995, Linden loosened its laces slightly, but nearly 30 years later, the town's rules around dancing remained surprisingly strict. Today, you still need a city permit to hold a public dance. Dances must end by 1 a.m. or midnight on Saturdays. Minors are barred from dances where liquor is available, and anyone deemed intoxicated or boisterous can be removed. The city also bans immoral or indecent dancing, defining it as any dance where a participant's torso is exposed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you could be bumping and grinding till the cows come home, but as long as your torso's covered, you're good to go.
No, I've never
You know
seen...
what would be an interesting idea for a podcast?
What?
Is
bumping and grinding with torsos exposed?
Yeah. To research all the crazy laws in every state
That would
to
be.
get the origin story.
That would...
Like, why is this a law? There
You
has
should
to
do
be
that.
a reason.
Do that.
Oh,
That should be
heck
your
no.
next podcast.
That sounds like a lot
Seriously.
of work.
That sounds like way too much
Somebody
work.
else take that idea and do it,
Yeah.
because I just want to know the origin stories of these laws.
I've never seen Footloose, so add that to my movie
It's
that
so
I've never
good.
seen.
Oh, you got to see Footloose.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, it's cheesy as all get out, but it's good.
I saw the thing. What show was it on?
The
With
original.
with Kevin Bacon. That was just on a talk show.
Oh,
What was his name? Whose talk show was it? I can't think of the name, but he was
a
a
dude?
Yeah.
Daytime or nighttime?
Was it Jimmy Fallon?
Oh, I don't know.
But he was like a guest on the show, and at the beginning he came back and
Did the dance?
he's like Jimmy Fallon comes back and he says, "Just so you know, there's no dancing on this show."
Oh.
And then he, Kevin
proceeded to
Bacon
dance?
throws the bottle and a
Yeah.
cigarette, and he dances through the studio, and people join him and stuff, and it was actually really cool. You ready to jump into cryptids? Mm-hmm. Sweet.
You know it.
A lot of these are going to come with, and I love this. I wish we had done this more often and had other people do this, but it's going to come with commentary from Stephanie, who's been to some of these places and knows some of this stuff. So
yeah,
I know
that's such a good idea.
that is such a good idea. Maybe another 10 years. Let's do another 10 years. Start over.
How about for the next strange states?
The next strange states. But I do think that's when you and I get together randomly to do an episode.
Yeah, strange states.
Strange
is a good
States
one.
is always a fun one.
a
So I
given.
think we'll keep doing that.
There's so many to do yet.
And then maybe I'll put out the call before and be like, "Hey, we're gonna do
Tell us your
Montana."
story.
So
Yeah.
if you have any stories, and then we'll read those. That's what we should have been doing all along. But
Heck yeah.
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Oh, final season.
Finally
figured it out.
Final season. Cryptid number 6, and I think we've mentioned these, and it's not very politically correct. Cryptid number 6: stick Indians.
Oh,
Have we talked about stick Indians?
I don't know.
This comes from the Astonishing Legends website. It says the Northwest Indian tribes, particularly the Salish, is that how it's pronounced? Salish, have a tale of particularly malevolent and dangerous beings that dwell deep in the forest of the Northwest. They are known primarily as stick Indians. Physically, their description changes from tribe to tribe. Many legends acknowledge that they at least somewhat resemble other Native Americans. For example, the majority of tribes described are about as tall as any other Native American. However, this isn't universally true. For example, the Nez Perces call them little people. The Salish and other tribes say that they resemble our idea of Bigfoot. So it's like, yeah.
Those are two completely
it's
opposite.
Quite a span. Stick Indians are seldom seen. They are almost completely nocturnal, and it is said that their language does not mimic human speech, but instead sounds like birds and other animals. They primarily hunted and fished to feed themselves and seem to not have any permanent settlement. They were clothed with deer skins and other fixings from the forest. It is believed that the creatures got the name Stick Indians because they dwell in the forest and share many traits with animals of the forest rather than typical tribes. Other inspirations for the name Stick Indians are believed to come from their puckish habit of thrusting sticks into teepees, lodges, and into individuals while they sleep. That's creepy.
Yeah, a little
Sleeping in your tent, and all of a sudden
Someone's whacking
jabbing
you
with a stick.
Poke them with a stick.
Similar to puckwudgies, these beings were not a problem until they become one. Many Stick Indians will play pranks on villages during the night when they come across them. These pranks, while annoying, are fairly mild. For example, they would steal fish from nets, take off with food, and remove men's clothes while they were sleeping.
Okay.
like you do. However, when threatened by other tribes or when tribes interfered with their lives, the power of these creatures would soon be on display. Stick Indians were incredibly vindictive and always sought revenge. It is believed that the Stick Indians have some powers of mental persuasion. Although the range of the powers differ, some believe that they can hypnotize you or cause instant insanity. Almost every tribe agrees that they are able to induce dread, confusion, and anxiety to humans, especially humans wandering alone in the woods. One of the ways they accomplish this is through disorienting a traveler by whistling and mimicking animal noises. Many people who disappeared in the woods were thought to have been taken by the Stick Indians as punishment for disrespecting them. Children, specifically, were warned of the Stick Indians and wandering into the forest at night because the Stick Indians stole them away and brought them up as wives and slaves. Somebody on Reddit commented and said, "The other thing I've heard, luckily not from personal experience, is that they make familiar sounds to lure people in. The top 3 sounds being the sound of a crowded party, a woman screaming for help, and a baby crying."
I knew baby was
scary
gonna be on
stuff.
there. Yeah.
Somebody else says, "I hate that I've had Stick Indian experiences. We got a property out in eastern Washington that was home in the middle of a canyon. There was no cell service, 50 miles away from any actual civilization. So many weird things happen, from voices being heard to tools being found at the top of rocks way up away from the camp. Never knew where they were when we were having these experiences too. It seemed like after the last few years when we acknowledged them and they knew that we knew they were there, they kind of disappeared from the property." And somebody else commented to this saying, "In my tribe, the story is similar to this one, except that you can practically call the Stick Indians in by whistling in the woods at night, which is something you do not want to do. We have to constantly warn newcomers to make sure they don't accidentally summon them." So that's a lot of, we got mimics in there. We got the whistler, like the whistling in the woods we talked about. That's Stick Indians. I don't know if we've mentioned them in previous episodes.
It doesn't sound familiar, but
they sound so much like bits and pieces of other, like
yeah,
Bigfoot,
totally.
like mimics. You know, number 5. This one is unsettling to me. And a dramatic pause to drink my coffee. Number 5 is Prop Man. This comes from, I don't know, Wentashi. It's a Native American group. Wentashi.
You're gonna struggle with those?
I'm going to struggle. I'm just going to say the Wents.
Yeah,
I'm going to say the Wents. I don't mean Wenatachi. I'm just going to say the Wents. On September 30th, 1944, a B-24 Liberator known as Flight 22 crashed into Mission Ridge, leaving a lasting impact on the Went Valley. I can't even pronounce that. Wenatchee Valley.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Wenatchee.
Wenatchee.
You would think with all the Native American towns or cities
Wenatchee.
in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it would sound familiar. The crash site, now known as Bomber's Bowl, has become a significant part of the region's culture, especially among skiers and snowboarders. The wreckage of Flight 22 is rumored to bring good luck to those who touch it. That's so weird to me that out in the middle of the woods, a plane that's crashed, that's good luck to touch it. And snow is said to fall if you kiss it.
Oh.
I don't know if I'm going to be kissing a plane.
Who experimented with that?
I don't know.
It was like, well, let me kiss this plane, see
and then
what
it started
happens.
snowing. However, the most chilling aspect of the story is the legend of the Prop Man, an immortal zombie said to wander the mountains at night.
Oh, the Prop Man. Now I get it.
While the legend may seem fantastical, some elements do lend believability to the tale. Only 5 of the 6 crew members' bodies were ever recovered, and the circumstances surrounding the missing crew members' disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. What is known of the fateful flight is that Flight 22 was carrying sensitive war documents that needed to be destroyed to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. For this reason, a thorough search was conducted of the crash site with only 5 of the 6 crew members' bodies being found. It is believed that the tail gunner managed to parachute out, but landed simultaneously as the plane did and was struck by a piece of the propeller.
Oh.
Despite his grievous injuries, he supposedly survived long enough to crawl into a nearby cave, now known as Prop Man's Cave, where he was transformed into an immortal undead being. A blood trail was found, but his body and the piece of the propeller were never recovered.
That's like the opposite of luck.
Yeah.
Like
right.
you successfully
jump out and
Yeah.
then you land right where the plane is crashing.
Oh my gosh.
Since the crash, numerous individuals have claimed to have encountered Prop Man, including ski patrollers, cat drivers, Mission Ridge skiers, and hikers. One chilling account comes from a former ski patroller who realized a humanoid figure was following him during an evening's training session. Krista shaking her head.
No.
I can see it in my peripheral vision. Following him during an evening training session near Bomber's Bowl. Assuming it was a lost skier, he offered directions back to the mountain's base. That's when he got a good look at the figure, who was Prop Man. The ski patroller described him, saying he was still in his uniform and even still had his canteen, had swollen features, missing body parts, and most notably a propeller blade sticking out of his chest.
Oh my God.
Traumatized by the encounter, he quit the ski patrol and stopped skiing altogether.
Wow.
In 2010, a similar story emerged from a Boy Scout who sensed he was being watched while trying to catch up with his group. After turning a corner, he saw what he believed to be Prop Man following him and ran back to camp. Frightened by the experience, the young boy asked to go home and never set foot in that forest again.
That was almost a missing 411 story right there.
During the summer months, hikers can visit the wreckage where the wing of the bomber can be found mounted to the spot, and the other half of the propeller is on display all year round. A small plaque memorializes the tragedy. As you wander through the crash site's eerie silence, tread carefully, for some say Prop Man's form lurks in the shadows. That one's creepy.
That's creepy.
That one is creepy. You know, some of these urban legends like that, it's like, you know. But
I mean, it sounds like a person actually died.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, they never found the body.
Oh,
it
they
sounds
didn't?
like no. That's what
Okay.
it sounds like. But then the story said that he got to that cave and became a zombie or whatever. Well,
a ghost?
the next number 4, cryptid number 4, the Lake Chelan.
There's always a lake monster.
Chelan. Chelan? Lake Chelan.
I don't know.
The Lake Chelan dragon. This
dragon.
comes from the Puget Sound Monster Club website. I always thought Puget Sound was on the East Coast for some reason, by like Martha's Vineyard. Like my geography.
I thought it was
sucks.
like near Canada.
So,
Wow. Never mind.
Yeah.
Where's that map that we used to have down here?
I don't know. Yeah, I thought Puget Sound was by Martha's Vineyard, but who knows? Obviously not my strong suit, that's for sure. No geography.
In our defense, the United States is ginormous.
Yes,
and it's hard to keep it all straight.
So the earliest documented account dates back to 1892 when a group of miners on a supply boat claimed that a 30-foot black creature breached the water near the end of the lake. According to the leader, the boat nearly capsized and the men refused to cross the lake again for weeks. In the 1920s, a ferry captain reported, quote, something big and fast slicing through the water just after sunrise. Locals called it a water panther. I like that, a water panther, a name borrowed from Native American lore describing horned serpents or underwater spirits. During the 1940s, 2 teenage swimmers near Lucerne were pulled under by something unseen. One emerged screaming about, quote, a snake-like thing with a crocodile face. The report was written off as hysteria. Still, locals stayed close to shore for the rest of the season. In the 1980s and 1990s, there was a resurgence in sightings as recreational boating exploded. Tourists reported seeing wakes with no visible source, shapes seen just beneath the surface, strange groaning or whale-like calls, and in 2006, a pair of cryptid investigators used a submersible drone near Domke Falls and captured sonar blips they couldn't explain.
Couldn't it be a whale?
The shape, I don't know. The shape was long, low, curved, and possibly organic. One diver on that expedition later claimed she found what looked like a shed scale roughly the size of a dinner plate. To date, no body, skeleton, or definitive photo has been captured.
It says it's a complex system of deep saltwater inlets.
Oh, I don't know if
So
a
I
whale
feel like
could-
whales could potentially, right?
Well, Stephanie says, this comes from co-trivia contest winner Stephanie. She says, Forrest Galante did an episode on his TV show, Mysterious Creatures maybe, searching for this creature and found fairly convincing evidence that suggests that this was actually a sturgeon that shouldn't be in the lake. Yeah, sturgeons are
huge.
Yeah. Also very interesting if you're a nerd about geologic science because it explains how sturgeon could have come up the Columbia River into the lake before the 2 bodies of water were separated. I think I remember that right. Now I want to watch that again. I should I've never watched Mysterious Creatures.
I mean, when I say huge, we're talking like
No,
I
but
mean,
there's
they can be
big
up to
lake
3 to 4
sturgeon.
feet.
Yeah, there's big
They just
sturgeon.
had the sturgeon spearing
Yeah.
in
Lake
Lake Winnebago
Yep.
recently, and like the biggest ones are literally like just a few feet.
So it's like,
They're like prehistoric. They're
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, could you mistake that for a
No, probably not.
for a dragon, a lake
I don't
dragon?
think so.
But I totally could see it being sturgeon, but I don't know if they do strange groaning or whale-like calls.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But number 3, I love number 3. Number 3 is the gumbaroo.
The gumbaroo.
I showed you that picture.
Yep.
It's in the teaser. It's like the drawing of the creature that's kind of smiling. I love gumbaroo.
Has a lot of teeth.
He's right up there with squonk.
It made me think of Squonk, actually.
They'd be a good team together. Gumbaroo and Squonk.
Then Squonk would
Wish
be
I could
so
draw.
lonely.
I'd make a comic. This comes from the cryptid wiki. The gumbaroo is said to look like a fat black bear in shape, completely hairless, except for its prominent eyebrows and bristly hairs on its chin. He sounds cute.
Sounds like a walrus.
Yeah. Instead, it has dark, smooth, and extremely tough coal black leather-like skin. This makes the beast invulnerable to bullets, rocks, and arrows. Anything shot at the beast simply bounces off. It is said that the only thing that will kill a gumbaroo is fire, and if it does come into contact with fire, it explodes with incredible force.
Wow.
Frequently during and after a forest fire in the heavy cedar near Coos Bay, woodmen have insisted that they heard loud sounds quite unlike the sounds of falling trees and detected the smell of burning rubber in the air. It's said that when the creature was photographed, the photo negatives would explode as well.
Okay.
Gumbaroos make their dens in the bases of huge burned-out cedar trees along the Pacific coast from Gray's Harbor to Humboldt Bay. The creature spends most of its time in a state of hibernation, just like me, only leaving its lair a few times a year to search for food. When active, the gumbaroo is always hungry and will eat any living creature that crosses its path. A whole horse may be eaten in one sitting, but it's not enough. Fortunately, it's not swift in its movement or annoyed in the slightest degree by the presence of enemies. And it's thought to be a myth invented by lumberjacks to explain sudden forest fires. But no, I believe in you, gumbaroo.
Poor gumbaroo.
I know.
Poor exploding gumbaroo.
I know. I don't want a picture of it because that's going to, like, if you take a picture with your camera or your phone explode.
Good question.
I still think he needs to team up with Squatch. Not Squatch.
Squonk.
Squonk and Squatch. Number 2 is, oh boy, I should have probably looked this one up.
You're just going to wing it?
Tataclea.
Oh, I see.
This comes from
That's my chair. Wow.
Whatever, that was your chair. This comes from wentachitalk.com. I'm just going to call him Ta because Tataclea is hard. So I'm just going to call him the Ta.
Okay.
According to legends of the Yakima tribe, the Ta, otherwise known as the Owl Witch, is a terrifying creature that haunts the shadows among central West Washington Notches River. This fearsome being, deeply rooted in the region's folklore, embodies the natural world's mysterious and often frightening aspects. Stories of the Owl Witch date back generations, but the most widely known retelling of the mysterious beast's origins and perhaps even demise, or at least we hope, came from Yakima tribe member William Charlie when sharing the story with an American farmer in 1918. While some versions of the legend describe the Ta as a literal owl-human hybrid with the head of an owl and the body of a human, that's creepy,
Yeah.
Charlie described them as beings who are much taller than the average human with some peculiar tastes, eating everything that was deemed as bad that Native Americans didn't eat, such as frogs, lizards, snakes, and other not-so-lovable creatures. Unfortunately, however, they most enjoyed feasting on children, and it was said that they could even mimic the tribe's languages to lure in the unsuspecting young prey. Lots of mimicking again today.
Yeah.
Charlie stated that there were originally 5 of these creatures, all of whom were sisters. It was said that before the last creation, these 5 owl witch sisters terrorized the land, eating indigenous tribal members whenever they had a chance. From here, the legend of the Taz varies, but ultimately ends the same, with the sisters being destroyed variously. Charlie's retelling states that 2 of the sisters were destroyed, but no one knew how and suspected a higher power might be to thank as their cave home became red hot and blew them out. He also said that one of the other sisters had drowned, and from her eye, all owls were created. That's kind of a cool story. You would think this would be the end of the story, but alas, by all historical accounts, it seems unanimous that there were 5 sisters. Yet there's nothing concrete to suggest that all the Tas were destroyed, as most stories regarding their demise seemingly only account for the deaths of 3 of the 5 sisters. So
there's nothing concrete
general. So the other 2 perhaps still out there. Over generations, some have attributed mysterious disappearances near Yakima and Wenatchee lands to these nocturnal nightmares.
A lot of these seem like they're Native American urban legends.
Yeah.
Kind of, or not. It's probably not what you call them, urban legends.
The Tataklea is a story from the Yakima tribe about a creature described as a witch owl. The creature takes children into the forest by mimicking the voices of people they know. Unsuspecting children are then snatched up and devoured. What do you think number 1 is?
Squatch.
Number 1, Sasquatch. I got Sasquatch, written.
Sasquatch,
So, like, I don't remember if we talked about it on here or in the pre-show, but I was going to do some Bigfoot stories, but we decided we are going to do a whole episode on Bigfoot stories. So then Stephanie she said, oh shoot, I don't think I have in here what she said, but she suggested we look into the story of Ape Canyon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I'd never heard of. I had never heard of this before. So I did that. So this comes from folkbestiary.com and Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Washington.
Great show.
Washington. Is it?
Sasquatch Chronicles. It's a really good podcast.
I don't know if I've ever seen it or listened to it.
I haven't listened in a long time, but really good stuff.
So Washington's most famous cryptid is, of course, Bigfoot, a towering ape-like figure reported throughout the Cascade and Olympic Mountains. Sightings date back to at least the 1920s. I thought it was before that.
Oh, for sure. Maybe not there.
With some native traditions and settler accounts suggesting even earlier origins.
Okay.
Witnesses describe a shaggy humanoid standing 7 to 9 feet tall, leaving behind massive tracks and occasionally hair samples of uncertain origin. We talked in the pre-show, too, I think, about the documentary coming out that is going to supposedly expose the Patterson-Gimlin film as a hoax.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, people are just kind of waiting to see what that's all about.
Yeah.
They said it's
What
about,
is it going to be on?
I don't know. Netflix, I think. They said it's going to be about that somebody found film of a practice session they did wearing the costume. But whether that's true or not, who knows? Washington consistently records more Bigfoot sightings than any other state, especially around Mount Rainier, Snoqualmie Pass. Now I know what people feel about Wisconsin cities. Snoqualmie Pass and the deep forests of the Cascades. I would love to see the Cascades.
Yeah.
The state remains central to Bigfoot research and popular imagination, making the creature a defining feature of the Pacific Northwest folklore. Of all the documented Sasquatch attacks, the Ape Canyon incident of 1924 was one of the most notable and frightening in history. Fred Beck and a group of 4 men were gold prospecting in Ape Canyon, Mount St. Helens, Washington, in the Lewis River area, when they began to notice evidence of, quote, visitors around their cabin. Some very large human-like footprints were discovered, and they had been hearing noises at night around the area. They claimed to have heard thumping noises that sounded like chest thumping, and one said they heard a strange high-pitched a strange high-pitched whistling sound on one ridge above them, only to hear another whistle on the opposite ridge, like typical Sasquatch stuff, calling and making noise.
If this is the story I'm thinking of, it's actually pretty creepy.
When Beck and another of the men went down to a nearby spring for water, they caught sight of a large ape-like creature staring at them from behind a large pine tree. It was said to be very dark brown in color, and they estimated it to be about 7 feet tall. It ducked behind the tree and then poked its head out to watch them again. One of the men raised his rifle and took a shot at the creature and believed he grazed its head, but it ran away and ducked out of sight. Beck claimed to have seen another one as it stood along a canyon wall. He said he shot it in the back and watched it fall into the gorge. The men may have thought the incident was over, but they nonetheless planned to leave the area the next morning just in case. So they hunkered down that night with their rifles in hand. As darkness fell and the men were tucked away inside their cabin at night, all was quiet, but they were later awakened by an enormous thud against the cabin wall and some sounds from between the logs. No, some pieces of the logs fell into one of the men's laps. That's creepy. Something's hitting your cabin wall so hard it's falling apart on you. They all grabbed their rifles. A loud rustling was heard outside, along with the trampling of large, heavy feet. One of the men peered outside from between the logs. He caught sight of what he believed to be 3 creatures, but from the sounds he heard, he said there were many more. The creatures were pounding on the walls. That would be creepy.
So scary.
The creatures were pounding on the walls and door of the cabin and throwing rocks onto the roof in an attempt to break it open. And frighteningly, one of the creatures stuck its arm through the hole where the pieces of wood had fallen and attempted to grab an axe without success. Luckily for these men, they had built a cabin sturdily for winter and it had no windows. The creatures were unable to break in. The attack continued throughout the long night with only short intervals of quiet. And the men claimed they shot at them only when they were being attacked, and they stopped shooting when it got quiet, hoping the creatures would learn that the shooting would stop when the attacking stopped. After about 5 hours of assault, the creatures finally gave up in the early morning hours. At daylight, the men finally went outside, only to find a strip of wood torn from between 2 logs of the cabin and numerous large footprints all around. They left the area quickly, leaving much of their equipment behind. Later, the men agreed to not tell the story to anyone, but one of the men leaked the story and the press got wind of it. Others began hunting around the area for the apes. It was called the Great Ape Hunt of 1924. Beck continually swore to the truth of his story, and the canyon was named Ape Canyon after this incident took place.
Just the idea of like you feel like you're safe if you're inside.
Yeah, no.
That wouldn't feel very
And when
safe.
they're pounding on
the
the
idea
walls.
of anything knocking on the walls or
Yeah.
pounding on the walls of your home is scary to me.
That reminds me of when Father Oswald was dying in St. Nazianz here, and the journal from that time said that as he was dying, it sounded like the house was surrounded by people banging their hands on the wall,
That's freaky.
like all around the house. And then when they went out, and then when he died, it stopped. So, yeah,
What does that mean?
I don't know, but that's pretty creepy. So there we have our cryptids.
I feel like there was a found footage Bigfoot movie, like kind of. It wasn't about that story, but it's very similar. People who,
Yeah,
I think in the movie,
I know
someone
which one you're talking
maybe
about.
hit one with a car.
Yeah.
and then they went back
Yeah.
to their cabin and
Yeah.
all heck broke out.
I think
yeah.
I saw that one too.
It was pretty good actually. That one was pretty creepy.
I'm almost positive I saw that one.
I forget what it's called.
But yeah, there are cryptids. There's a lot of cryptids in Washington. We could have done a whole second Washington state episode, but because it's so many woods. I would love to see it though, and see Seattle and all that. What time are we looking at?
An hour.
Okay, now we get to haunted places.
Sweet.
Okay, number 6. This comes from Stephanie. She sent this. She writes, quote, "A fun and ridiculous urban legend. Maltby Cemetery and the 13 Steps to Hell. As the legend goes, in Maltby Cemetery, also known as Paradise Lake or Paradise Valley Cemetery, in the town of Maltby, you will find a set of 13 steps leading down to the underground crypt of a wealthy local family. Urban legend has it that anyone who makes the regrettable decision to climb down those steps will be met with a vision of hell so terrifying it will drive them to insanity. Most people say that once you descend the steps into the crypt, you can no longer hear everything above you, even just a few feet away. Others say they have watched as their friend disappeared before their eyes as they descend the staircase. Additional claims range from apparitions of women and children, the sound or appearance of angry dogs chasing people out of the cemetery, and evidence of the performance of satanic rituals. Since at least the 60s and throughout the decade, the legend passed around like notes in class, and many teenagers entered the cemetery at night seeking to scare themselves and their friends, get high and or drunk, and goad each other to climb the steps. You'll find several personal accounts online ranging from the disbelieving to the unbelievable. In reality, the steps that once existed were removed or buried long ago, with many accounts suggesting this happened in the late 2000s. There is no sign of a crypt or any structure at either end of the stairs, and there likely never was. The most likely reason for the existence of the stairs was for ease of traveling up and down the slope between the terraced levels of the cemetery. The entrance to this unmarked private cemetery is an unassuming driveway at the end of a cul-de-sac in a quiet neighborhood. There is a chain across the driveway with private property and no trespassing signs.
Reminds me of Glenbeulah.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so much like in
Yeah.
Glenbeulah. It is difficult to locate, not open to the public, and set in a heavily forested area, just like Glenbeulah, all of which lend to the mysterious air of the legend. Still, the legend persists despite the fact that there is absolutely zero evidence of any of the paranormal or ritual claims. I love having Stephanie as like our correspondent out
Yeah,
in
this
the
is
field.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like our unofficial intern right now.
Yes. That's one thing I'm learning
Season
with the
10.
one thing I'm learning with the new podcast. It's one of the first things we got to do is get an intern.
You can probably just ask AI to do all the stuff an intern
That's
would
true.
do.
Thank you for that, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie.
Number 5 is the Oxford Saloon, and this comes from the pararational.com website. The Oxford Saloon story begins in 1900 when it opened as Blackman's Dry Goods Store, the largest grocery in Snohomish County. Founded by Arthur Blackman, a Maine native who settled in Snohomish, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, after working as a logger. The store was a community hub until 1910.
I feel like the catchphrase for this episode is, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I should call it that. During Prohibition, it operated... Oh, wait. In 1910, new owners transformed it into the Oxford Saloon, a rowdy watering hole. That sounds very Wisconsin. We have a lot of rowdy watering holes that quickly gained notoriety. During Prohibition, it operated as a speakeasy with a rumored tunnel in the basement for secret deliveries. By World War II, it had become a tavern, hosting card games, bar fights, and darker activities upstairs. The second floor, remodeled in 1910, housed boarding rooms run by a businesswoman named Kathleen, who allegedly operated a brothel. These rooms saw their share of drama, passion, betrayal, and violence. Historical records note at least 10 deaths in the building, including 2 murders. One well-documented tragedy was the 1910 killing of Henry, a policeman and possible bouncer, stabbed while breaking up a brawl. Another grim tale involves Kathleen, found decapitated in a clawfoot bathtub upstairs, her murder unsolved. Yikes. The saloon's rough past continued through the decades with tales of shady dealings and untimely deaths. After Prohibition, the Oxford settled into its role as a community staple, serving hearty meals and hosting live music. The upstairs room became offices, but the building's dark history lingered. By 2005, the Washington State Ghost Society began investigating, cementing its status as a paranormal hotspot. Today, the saloon balances its lively atmosphere with an eerie undercurrent, its walls steeped in stories of a wilder time. Here are some of the ghosts of Oxford Saloon. Henry, the mischievous policeman. Henry, a policeman killed in a bar fight, is the saloon's most active spirit. Often spotted near the basement stairs where he died, he's known for playful pranks. Women report feeling their bottoms pinched in the ladies' restroom, only to find no one there. Ooh. Manager Rebecca Caden says, quote, "He's a flirt, but he vanishes when you call him out." Paranormal teams have captured EVPs of a gruff male voice near the card room, adding to Henry's legend. Then there's Kathleen. Kathleen, the brothel madam, is a striking figure in a purple dress adorned with bows. Her apparition haunts the second floor where she was brutally murdered in a clawfoot bathtub. Visitors describe seeing her near the tub, sometimes with bloodstains that vanish on closer inspection. During a 2019 investigation, a spirit box picked up a woman's voice saying, "I'm still here," chilling the team. Kathleen's presence feels protective, though, as if she's still overseeing her domain. And then there's Amelia, the tragic prostitute. Amelia, one of Kathleen's girls, met a grim fate in room number 6. Her body was found curled in a closet, her neck broken. Whether by suicide or murder remains unclear. I'm guessing they think she hung herself in the closet? A 2019 Spirit Box session suggested that she was pushed down the stairs and then her body was positioned in the closet. Her ghost, seen as a younger woman in tattered clothing, lingers upstairs, her energy heavy with sorrow. Investigators often feel a chill near her room. And then a mysterious man in a bowler hat rounds out the saloon's spectral residence. Spotted on the second floor, this tall figure appears briefly before fading. Little is known about him, but his presence adds to the Oxford's eerie vibe. Could he be a former patron or a figure from its speakeasy days? Nobody knows. These spirits, from playful to tragic, make the Oxford a paranormal playground. Skeptics might dismiss them as bar tales, but the consistency of sightings begs a closer look. Who are these ghosts and what keeps them here? And here's some ghostly encounters people have had. The Oxford's haunted reputation thrives on real stories from patrons and investigators. Here are some accounts that keep the legend alive. In 2005, the Washington State Ghost Society investigated the saloon, focusing on the second floor. Investigators Sandy and Russ turned on a tape recorder while climbing the stairs. Sandy said, quote, "Russ, take some pictures." When being played back, a male voice echoed her words, followed by a child's laugh in the background. Russ told Weird Washington, "We were alone, or so we thought," and the team also captured distorted images hinting at unseen presences. Anytime there's a child laughing in a...
Yeah, no.
We got the one from Vicky's with the, with the girl in the book room when we were in the book room. In 2018, owner Brian Swanson shared a story with Seattle Refined. A band member, unaware of the saloon's history, went to the basement to wash her hands at 2 a.m. She returned laughing, saying that a friendly bartender had shared stories about Henry and Kathleen. Swanson replied, quote, "Sweetie, I'm the only one here." The musician turned pale, grabbed her guitar, and left. She hasn't returned since. A 2019 investigation by Fog Paranormal picked up EVPs on the second floor. One recording captured a voice mocking the female investigator's words, saying, quote, "She's talking again." I love when you get snarky spirits like that. Another session near Amelia's room yielded a faint "help me," sending shivers through the team. The group also reported chairs moving with no explanation. A patron named Sarah shared her experiences on the Oxford's website in 2022. While dining, she felt a tap on her shoulder, but no one was behind her. She says, quote, "The air suddenly got cold and my friend's glass slid an inch across the table. We laughed it off, but it felt like someone was watching." Stephanie says, quote, "The Oxford Saloon, I've been there a handful of times. This is likely the top result you get when searching for haunted places in Washington. Multiple ghosts are said to haunt there, including one that might push you down the stairs and one that harasses you in the women's bathroom. I don't doubt it's haunted, but I will say this. When you're there and drunk, you have to walk down the uneven old stairs. I don't think you need to be pushed by a ghost to feel like you are going to fall down." So, I mean, back in my drinking days, me and stairs were not good.
That's funny.
I love that she's been to these places. Okay. Number 4, Northern State Hospital. This comes from usghostadventures.com and ghostlyactivities.com. You always got to have these hospitals in there.
Oh, yeah. They've seen a lot of stuff.
Yes. As the century turned, Washington had just 2 asylums within its border, Western State Mental Asylum and Eastern State Asylum.
They're always asylums.
I know. Both had become ridiculously overcrowded, so the state authorized the construction of a new facility near Puget Sound. They chose a site near the town of Cedro-Wally, just north of the Skagit River. The facility would be designed by the Olmsted brothers. That's interesting. The world-famous architectural firm known for designing the very famous Central Park in New York City. Olmsted designed a lot of parks, and I only know that because of the secret treasure hunt. A lot of people suspect that the treasures were like hidden in parks that he designed.
Okay.
So that is weird. His name was actually familiar to me. Commissioned in 1909, Northern State Mental Hospital opened just 2 years later. It became the largest in the state in terms of population shortly thereafter. The institution was decked out with amenities. It had 700 acres of farmland, a dairy plant, a lumber mill, a quarry, its own sewer system, a greenhouse, a gym, a bakery, and more. Life at Northern State was relatively pleasant compared to the barbaric mental wards of the 19th century. A sharp contrast from the dungeon-like hellholes of the 1800s, Northern State Mental Hospital prioritized a so-called therapeutic treatment that focused on occupational therapy.
Until it didn't. Was it one of those?
I don't remember. It was a while ago I put this on there. Patients who were functional spent the day working at the various facilities around the asylum. On paper, work was considered therapeutic. Patients milked cows, baked bread, made uniforms, and tended crops as part of their treatment. I like that idea, though.
Unless it's just really free labor and just
probably
being disguised as treatment.
But I do like the theory that, you know. But the reality was far more complicated. These tasks weren't optional. Patients weren't compensated. I think you're right.
Free labor.
And often they worked long hours under supervision and conditions that mirrored indentured labor. Okay, you were right. Krista called that one. For administrators, the benefit was clear. The hospital became nearly self-sufficient, producing much of its own food, clothing, and supplies. What some saw as occupational therapy, others rightly recognized as forced labor that boosted the hospital's bottom line. Cynical Krista was correct. Most who were admitted into the asylum were suffering from short-term episodes and should never have been admitted into such a facility. These people included rebellious teens, depressed young adults, women going through menopause, and alcoholics. That's just crazy to me. What, you're going through menopause? Go in the asylum.
I mean, it's crazy that like a husband who didn't want to deal with his wife anymore could just commit her to an asylum.
Yep, and find somebody else. Yeah.
It's wild.
There was even a population at the hospital of immigrants as the result of racial cleanliness. Like today, the general idea of mental health was poorly understood, and those who just needed simple therapies or medication were admitted alongside those suffering from actual mental disorders. Security soon became an issue as the population of the asylum exploded. A murder occurred in 1922 when a patient was killed. Yeah, I mean, that's what a murder is. By 1953, the hospital's population hit a peak of over 2,700 people. The superintendent claimed that this was the maximum capacity of the asylum, but he was pressured to take on more and more patients. That's just recipe for disaster right there.
It's literally every asylum that ever existed.
Yes.
I swear the Sheboygan County Asylum is the only one I've heard of that doesn't have a dark history.
It probably does, buried deep enough. We should look into that. Like countless other mental asylums of the time, grisly experiments were performed on patients, some of which have even been rumored to be part of the top-secret government program, MK Ultra. Electroshock therapy, insulin-induced comas, ice water baths, and lobotomies were common. Yikes. There were rumors of restraint chambers and padded rooms used for days at a time, sometimes longer. Some patients underwent repeated shock therapy without breaks, while others were subjected to isolation and starvation as behavioral control. We're going to get into that.
It's literally just like prison with horrible experiments.
We're going to get into that in another one of these. Between 1954 and 1958, the hospital participated in radiation experiments on unwitting patients. The University of Washington injected radioactive iron into individuals to study how their bodies absorbed it.
God.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, of prisoners getting stuff. Yeah,
well, these aren't even prisoners.
No.
These are patients.
Patients, yep. The University of
they were prisoners.
The University of Washington injected radioactive iron into individuals to study how their bodies absorbed it. These experiments were part of a nationwide initiative backed by government agencies during the Cold War.
Nationwide initiative.
Consent was not part of the equation. Washington also had eugenics laws on the books. That meant that some patients, especially those deemed unfit or immoral, were forcibly sterilized. This included young women institutionalized for behavior considered sexually deviant or disobedient. We may never know how many lives were quietly erased in the name of progress. Electroshock therapy is still practiced today, although the shocks are much weaker than they were decades ago. Now called electroconvulsive therapy, ECT is performed by applying short electrical jolts to the brain, which induce small seizures. The procedure has been used as an attempt to cure depression, autism, delirium, catatonia, and several other disorders with mixed results. Side effects include heart arrhythmia, change in brain structure, and cognitive impairment.
I know it was still used today, but
that's
treat
frightening.
Autism?
That is just frightening.
Wow.
Lobotomies were relatively common practice throughout the 1930s through the 50s. Doctors would drill a small hole through the skull and into the brain to cure various mental health disorders.
With a hammer and a spike.
The procedure almost never worked, not surprisingly, and often ended up leaving the patient with extreme brain damage and severe disability. Many would lose their basic motor skills, and patients soiling themselves after treatment was very common.
It's so horrific.
Many died shortly after their surgery. Those who remained functional were rendered emotionally blank. They were usually left totally expressionless and ended up with permanent 1,000-mile stares. Among these patients, suicide was commonplace.
The Project Fear team just revisited Allegheny, and that was a huge place for lobotomies. They have pictures of it.
I would love to visit Allegheny.
Oh, I would too. But it's just so barbaric. Oh my God. And it was done. Nobody did this consensually.
No. I would like to look more into how many experiments were done on patients and prisoners back in the day, because I'm sure what we know is
just what we know.
Only the tip of the iceberg. It's just crazy. But like the injecting the radioactive.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Controversy. Oh, wait. Rumors? Countless patients perished at Northern State. Rarely were the bodies claimed by families, and so their disposal was left to the state. Those who were known to be Protestant were cremated in an on-site furnace. Hundreds of these cremains were later found in tin cans bearing the patient numbers. Rumors say that the remains were packaged in the hospital's canning facility by other patients.
Oh, my God.
Most patients were buried in the asylum's 1.5-acre plot. According to hospital records, 1,487 bodies are buried on the grounds of the asylum. While the graves once did bear the names of those below, the swampy soil has caused the majority of the headstones to sink into the ground, leaving the bodies of the dead totally unnamed. Efforts are currently underway to exhume the bodies, identify them, and give them a proper burial.
Well, that's good.
Controversy began to surround the asylum as well as the real purpose of asylums in general. People petitioned for greater rights for the mentally ill, and the word about the brutal experimentation began to make their way around. The Washington state legislature cut off funding to the asylum, and in 1976, Northern State officially closed its doors. I gotta take my pill, entertain the listeners. It's frightening, like looking into this stuff, like the asylums is like dark. Like
it's
when you look
so
into
dark.
the stuff that used to happen.
I feel like I heard of the sterilization too. I don't think that was Trans-Allegheny. I wonder if they actually went to this location too, because the forced sterilization one, that I've heard of that before, and that is just, I mean, eugenics in general is just messed up.
It's frightening. It's just when you start to go down the rabbit hole of looking at this stuff, it's like, dang. And these poor people that were put in there for nothing, like menopause.
Yeah.
And then end up being lobotomized because they're menopausal. It's just crazy to me. Some of the buildings were torn down over the next few decades, and today the ground remains mostly abandoned and off limits to visitors. With so much suffering, death, and disregard for human life, the abandoned land is said to be crawling with reports of strange happenings. Visitors and explorers report shadowy figures, phantom footsteps, and distant whispers. Some say they've seen a nurse vanish through a wall, while others claim to hear people crying in the old wards. One common report is a heavy dragging sound echoing down the tunnels at night. These tunnels were once used to transport food, laundry, and occasionally patients. They've since been sealed, but some say you can still hear the sound of footsteps and groaning from below. Some people claim to have seen a woman in a white gown staring out of a third-story window. Others talk about lights flickering inside buildings that have no power. And then there's the so-called surgeon's hall, where a few investigators swear they saw surgical lights flicker on while the temperature dropped 20 degrees. They also say there's the ghost of a boy in the orchard. Local legend says a young patient wandered off and was never found. Now people say they see a figure running between the trees only to disappear when approached. Many people who visit the asylum grounds report strange phenomena such as cold spots, the feeling of being watched, hearing voices, and the feeling of being touched. Another encountered entity is that of a young girl with a red ball and a man chasing after her. They've been seen running around the property, although some people have seen the girl standing alone in the graveyard as well. Stephanie writes, quote, "I love this place. Some of the property has been turned into a beautiful park with miles of walking trails, fields of tall grass, grand old trees, and derelict buildings in various states of ruin. It was originally a self-sustaining therapy hospital/farm for the mentally ill designed by the Olmsted brothers who designed Central Park. It had dairy, livestock, and vegetable farming, a lumber mill, quarry, bakery, schoolhouse. There's an old cemetery on the grounds. The hospital closed in the 70s, and since then the state has used about half the property and buildings for various functions that don't have anything to do with its original use. But the park itself is very serene and beautiful, and I have attached 2 pictures of derelict buildings from there, so I'll post those in the group. But yeah, you got to have one of these places on every, because
they're in every state.
Just crazy. Hang on here. Number 3, I knew nothing about this. This one was really interesting, is the Cascade Tunnel in the Wellington train avalanche disaster. This comes from the website AmericanHauntingsInc.com and the Wellington Avalanche, or from the Herald.net article called The White Death, the Wellington Avalanche and Railroad Disaster. Throughout the night of February 28th and March 1st, 1910, one of the most horrific railroad disasters in American history occurred in the Cascade Range of Washington State. In 1897, work began on the Cascade Tunnel, which would eliminate the switchbacks, reduce the avalanche risk, and make the grades much easier to ascend and descend. The 2.5-mile tunnel, that's a long tunnel. The 2.5-mile tunnel, I don't like...
Ugh.
I like tunnels, but I don't like long tunnels.
No.
The 2.5-mile tunnel opened in 1900, although snow slides continued to block the entrances. In addition, I can't imagine like being
trapped in a tunnel.
Yeah, being trapped in a tunnel like that.
Darkness.
Yes.
Like, oh.
Under
No.
mountain.
Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
In addition, the threat of avalanches increased after fire destroyed the timber that provided some protection for the track. But these minor problems were only a prelude to disaster. That'd be a good name for a band, Prelude to Disaster.
Oh, yeah.
On February 24th, 1910, that sounded like one of the clackers from The Last of Us in your room over there. Okay, now where am I?
Or someone playing a comb, as I always say.
That's what it sounds like. I accidentally scrolled. I don't know where I am. La, la, la. Mental disorders. Okay, we just did that. All right, here we go. Da, da, da. On February 24th, 1910, after a snow delay at the East Cascade Mountains town of Leavenworth, the two Great Northern trains, the Spokane Local Passenger Train number 25 and Fast Mail Train number 27, traveled west through the mountains towards the coast. There were 5 or 6 steam and electric engines, 15 boxcars, passenger cars, and sleeper cars. The trains had passed through the Cascade Tunnel from the east to the west side of the mountain when snow and avalanches forced them to stop near Wellington in King County. Wellington was a small town populated almost entirely with Great Northern Railway employees. The train stopped under the peak of Windy Mountain above Tie Creek, where they were forced to wait for plows to clear the tracks. During the late night of February 28th and the early morning hours of March 1st, the snow that was falling from the sky turned to rain, accompanied by thunder and lightning. Thunder shook the mountains, stirring loose walls of snow and sending them hurtling down the tracks, towards the tracks. The wall of snow, which was 10 feet high and 1/4 of a mile wide, crashed down the mountainside. The avalanche swept the passenger train and the mail train into the gulch that was more than 150 feet deep.
Oh.
Everyone, passengers, mail workers, Great Northern crew members, were all trapped inside. Krista is just...
Oh, it's like horrifying.
Krista is not a fan of that.
No.
Some were killed instantly while others suffocated, buried in the mounds of snow. A surviving train conductor sleeping in one of the mail train cars was thrown from the roof to the floor of the car several times as the train rolled down the slope before it disintegrated when the train slammed against a large tree. Wellington residents and crew members rushed to the crushed trains that lay far below, and over the course of the next few hours, they dug out 23 survivors, most with injuries. As news slowly made its way out of the mountains, hundreds of volunteers and Great Northern employees converged on the scene to try to dig out the victims. The injured were sent to Wenatchee. The bodies of the dead were transported on toboggans. That's one of my
Toboggan.
pictures. That's one of
I
my
love that name.
Toboggan. That's one of my pictures on the teaser was the bodies on the toboggan. On toboggans.
If you don't know, that's an old-timey name for like a sled.
Yeah. Down the west side of the Cascades to trains that carried them to Everett and Seattle. The death toll from the avalanche reached 96 people, including 35 passengers, 58 railroad employees sleeping on the trains, and 3 railroad employees who were sleeping in cabins struck by the wall of snow. The old railroad line through Stevens Pass is now the Iron Goat Trail, a hiking trail through the forest with spectacular views of the Cascade Mountain scenery. The trail travels past the old snow sheds, the remains of the original tunnel, and the frightening ravine where pieces of the wreckage from the 2 trains still remain. And if the stories are to be believed, it's not just twisted pieces of metal and remnants of railroad archaeology that remain at this place. Some say the ghosts of the avalanche victims remain behind as well. Those who have the chance to visit the site of the Wellington disaster say that one can feel a very tangible history at the spot, despite the fact that everything that once existed as Wellington has long since vanished from the area. This is not an easy place to get to since the site is usually buried in snow from October to July in most years, but there are many who come, hikers, history buffs, park rangers, and ghost enthusiasts among them. And it's not just the ghost hunters who believe this place is haunted. Many of the park rangers say they won't go near the disaster site or even into the nearby parking lot after dark. Many speak of uncomfortable and sometimes oppressive feelings as they navigate the hiking trail, walk through the old snow shed, or brave the midday darkness of the crumbling railroad tunnel. But it's not just odd feelings and weird cold spots. Many people claim to have heard and seen things here that should not exist. Perhaps a little of the disaster victims who have remained behind. Inexplicable voices have sometimes been heard echoing off the stone walls of the tunnel. On other occasions, these voices have even imprinted themselves on recording devices, offering chills to those who play them back later. Some claim to have seen the victims of the avalanche. They report glimpses of people walking along the tracks near the site of Wellington where no people were walking before, and they say that these mysterious figures vanish without explanation, as if they have never been there at all. Vaughn Hubbard, 62, is a Monroe researcher and historian with the Northwest Paranormal Investigation Agency. He says, quote, "It's very active here." He said, "It's definitely very active here. A woman can sometimes be heard singing, humming like she's doing daily chores, and a ghostly child has been seen wandering around the entrance to the tunnel." So that's crazy. And Stephanie writes, quote, "I visited the inside of the tunnel once and did not like it. As you are walking deeper into the long, mostly straight tunnel. She says, "I visited the inside of the tunnel once and did not like it. As you are walking deeper into the long, mostly straight tunnel, you come to partitions about once every quarter mile-ish. At these points, the tunnel is walled off with only a man-sized doorway that is open. Once you pass a couple of these and you can no longer see the light at the end of the tunnel you came from, it gets creepy AF real fast."
I wonder if those are kind of like supports.
Probably. I don't know
if I could do it.
I don't know if I could do it either.
If I could always have sight
of the exit,
still, maybe.
I don't know.
At that point, it'd be like a pin. I don't know. Yeah, no.
And if that sucker comes down when you're in there,
bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hope you're one of those people that gets killed instantly.
And then Stephanie goes on to say, as far as the Wellington train avalanche disaster, she says, quote, "I've been to this site, and it was featured on an episode of Expedition X with Jess and Phil investigating the alleged haunting."
I was going to see that. I recognize all of
this.
Did you? Yeah.
Jess and Phil investigating the alleged haunting. This is a very sad but interesting story and would definitely make for some good podcast airtime. There is some ghost town at the former site of Wellington, but it's entirely underwhelming. Just a few remnants of foundations of buildings from an era of mining. Actually, there are a lot of hiking trails in the Washington Cascade Mountains that have mining histories and relics. I love that she's been to these places.
Yeah. I'm a little jelly. Not that I'd go in that tunnel, but
I'd poke around at the entrance, but that's... As I get older, each year it gets harder to go into enclosed spaces.
Yeah.
Nope.
I have an MRI next week. And I'm like,
that's one of my biggest fears is getting... Corey says that it's not as bad. You get
my
to listen
doctor
to music.
gave me Valium to take beforehand.
To listen to music.
Hope it's music I like.
Yeah. You should think about this story when you're...
yes.
When you're in there. Number 2, and this has to be a lovely place, the Starvation Heights Sanitarium. Dr. Linda Burfield Hazard built Wilderness Heights Sanitarium in 1908 on a rural property in Olalla. I love Olalla. She claimed to hold a medical degree, although Washington State only licensed her as a fasting specialist. Her treatment involved reducing patients to as little as a cup of tomato broth daily. This extreme fasting was supposed to cure everything from cancer to mental illness.
Oh, sure.
A cup of tomato broth daily.
That's all you get?
That's all you get. Hazard's method attracted wealthy patients from around the world seeking alternative medical treatments. She specifically targeted the rich and vulnerable with promises of miracle cures. Once patients became too weak to resist, she took control of their finances and assets. Many signed over their entire estates before dying of what she claimed were natural causes.
Clever.
And not starvation.
Yeah.
The sanitarium operated in relative secrecy due to its remote location away from town. Neighbors occasionally heard screams echoing through the trees, but rarely investigated. The few visitors Hazard allowed described emaciated patients wandering the grounds like living skeletons. She forbade most outside contact, claiming it interfered with the healing process. The most famous case involved 2 wealthy Australian sisters, Claire and Dorothea Williamson. In 1911, Claire died after weeks of starvation, weighing less than 70 pounds at her death. Dorothea barely survived after her family staged a dramatic rescue from the facility. The ensuing trial in 1912 finally exposed Hazard's deadly practices to public scrutiny. Hazard was convicted of manslaughter in Claire Williamson's death and served 2 years in prison. She lost her medical license but resumed practicing after her release using legal loopholes. She eventually rebuilt a smaller facility on the same cursed ground in the 1920s. The sanitarium operated until a mysterious fire in 1935 destroyed everything and ended her reign of terror. Some say that the fire was deliberately set to cleanse the property of its dark energy, yet even after the structure turned to ash, the land itself is said to have remained cursed. The former sanitarium site experiences constant paranormal activity despite having no standing structures for decades. Visitors report hearing anguished moans and crying for help coming from empty air. These sounds often manifest around dusk when Hazard used to serve her patients their meager rations. The disembodied voices sometimes call out specific names that matched known victims from historical records. Apparitions of severely emaciated figures, that's so creepy to me. It's not that you're just seeing a ghost. It's seeing that you're seeing a sick, emaciated ghost. Apparitions of severely emaciated figures appear throughout the property, particularly near the old building foundations. These spectral forms wear early 1900s clothing that hangs loosely on their skeletal bodies. Witnesses describe making eye contact with these spirits and seeing desperate pleading in their eyes. The ghosts often reach out towards the living as if begging for food or rescue. Cold spots plague the area even during hot summer months when temperatures should be warm. These freezing zones move and shift as if intelligent forces control them. People walking through cold spots report instant feelings of intense hunger and physical weakness. Some visitors have fainted from the overwhelming sensations that seem to transfer from the victim's final moments. Objects move on their own in the wooded area where the sanitarium once stood. Hikers leave water bottles or snacks only to find them relocated yards away moments later. These items sometimes appear arranged in disturbing patterns or gathered near the old foundation stones. Local researchers believe the spirits are trying to communicate their desperate need for sustenance. Electronic devices malfunction with unusual frequency anywhere near the former sanitarium location. Cameras drain completely despite fresh batteries installed minutes earlier. Cell phones display strange messages or symbols that don't match any known language or code. Audio recorders pick up whispered conversations in multiple languages describing hunger, pain, and betrayal. Claire Williamson's spirit is the most frequently encountered ghost on the property. She appears as a thin woman in a white nightgown with long dark hair. Witnesses report she looks confused and disoriented, often calling out for her sister Dorothea. Her apparition seems trapped in her final days before her death in 1911. One particularly chilling encounter occurred in 1998 when a real estate developer was surveying the land. He reported seeing Claire's ghost sitting beneath a large cedar tree, rocking back and forth. When he approached her to investigate, she looked directly at him and she whispered, quote, "so hungry," before vanishing. Jeez. The developer quickly abandoned his plans to build on the property. Another recurring spirit is believed to be Eugene Stanley Wakeland, a British man who died at the sanitarium in 1910. The ghost appears as a well-dressed gentleman in a three-piece suit that now hangs on his wasted frame. He walks the property carrying an empty plate, eternally searching for food that never comes. Witnesses describe him as polite but sad, still unable to comprehend his fate. Several visitors have reported encountering the spirit of a young woman named Maud Whitney. She died at Starvation Heights in 1908, one of the first victims of Hazard's treatment. Her ghost appears near the old entrance path, warning people to turn back and leave. She speaks clearly, saying, quote, "don't trust her, she'll take everything," before fading into mist. The most terrifying presence on the property is Dr. Linda Hazard herself. Her apparition manifests as a tall, stern woman in a long, dark dress and white medical coat. Unlike the victim's ghost, her spirit radiates anger and malevolence rather than sadness. She's seen walking the perimeter of the property as if still guarding it.
So she was only convicted of the one?
Yeah. Yep. Local paranormal investigators documented an encounter with Hazard's ghost in 2003 during an investigation. The team's medium claimed Hazard's spirit confronted her, insisting her treatments were legitimate and beneficial. The ghost supposedly showed no remorse for the deaths, maintaining her innocence decades after her mortal death. This encounter left the entire team deeply unsettled and convinced of genuine haunting activity. A group of children spirits also haunts the location, though documentation of juvenile patients is sparse. These young ghosts appear together, holding hands and singing nursery rhymes in weak, trembling voices. They seem less aware than the adult spirits, possibly trapped in a loop of their final moments. Their presence is especially heartbreaking to witnesses who hear their innocent voices asking when dinner is coming.
Oh,
Yikes.
my God.
I know. This was a dark episode. So, yeah.
That is bad enough, but little kids.
Yeah. I wonder how much of this is true.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to do a deep dive.
Hopefully this is sensationalized a little bit.
I'd like to do a deep dive into this place because that's stuff like that happened.
Yeah.
You know, but you think about the rich people that came out to Maribel when what's called Hotel Hell was back in the day because of the waters coming from the springs. Okay, and finally, number 1, the Tacoma Old City Hall. Constructed in 1893, Old Tacoma City Hall is an iconic example of Italian Renaissance revival architecture. Designed by E.A. Hatherton, the building was intended to project Tacoma's ambitions as a thriving port city. With its prominent clock tower and ornate exterior, the building quickly became a symbol of civic pride and stood as a focal point in downtown Tacoma, reflecting the city's growth during the late 19th century. Where is Tacoma in relation to Seattle? I wonder. Is Tacoma...
We thought the Puget Sound was
so good point.
Somewhere else.
We shouldn't even speculate. We shouldn't even
I could Google it.
take a chance. The building served as the heart of Tacoma's municipal government for decades. It housed various city departments, including the mayor's office, council chambers, and police department. In addition, the basement included jail cells, which were used for holding prisoners temporarily. This multi-purpose structure made City Hall the hub for government functions and community interactions, playing a vital role in Tacoma's political and social development. In the early 20th century, Tacoma faced economic shifts, but the City Hall remained a functional...
What the heck is going on over there?
Cramp on my leg.
Wow.
But the City Hall remained a functional and prominent structure throughout its ups and downs. During this period, the building underwent modifications to accommodate the city's changing needs, but its overall architecture and design remained largely preserved. City Hall continued to serve as the administrative center even as Tacoma evolved into a bustling industrial and cultural center in the Pacific Northwest. That hurt. However, by the 1950s, the building began to show signs of aging and deterioration. Modern infrastructure requirements outpaced the original design, and maintenance issues became more frequent. Additionally, Tacoma's government departments had grown beyond what the building could comfortably house. As a result, city officials began discussing the need for a more modern facility to meet the demands of the growing city. In 1959, after more than 6 decades of service, Old Tacoma City Hall was officially closed as the city government relocated to a new facility. The building remained a historic symbol, although it no longer served its original purpose. Over the years, efforts have been made to preserve and restore the structure, which continues to stand as a testament to Tacoma's early ambitions and architectural heritage. Behind the red brick exterior, Tacoma's Old City Hall has its fair share of local lore. Here are the stories that make the building seem to have a life of its own. The prison cell suicides. The basement of Old Tacoma City Hall housed jail cells where prisoners were held temporarily. These cells were known to be bleak and uncomfortable, with harsh conditions, minimal light, and poor ventilation. Rumor has it that a few prisoners, overwhelmed by despair, took their own lives while awaiting their fate. One of the most frequently recounted stories is that of a young man who was arrested on a cold winter night in the early 1900s. Allegedly, he took his life within the cell, leaving behind scratches on the cell walls as if he had been trying to escape. The area where this particular cell is located is now a hotspot for paranormal activity, with visitors reporting hearing scratchy sounds and seeing shadowy figures. During the initial construction of the building in the late 1800s, one of the workers reportedly fell from a high scaffold. Given that the building's height and lack of safety features were typical of that era, such accidents were actually pretty common. The worker's fall was fatal, and while his death was officially ruled accidental, some people say his spirit never left. This worker's ghost is rumored to haunt the stairwell and upper floors. Security guards have seen what they describe as a man in period clothing standing near the staircases, especially in the twilight hours. He has been spotted looking over the railings, perhaps searching for the safety that eluded him in his life. Cold spots and sudden chills are felt in these areas, even in warm weather. According to local legend, a city clerk took his own life in his office after a period of financial and personal difficulties. The clerk was allegedly struggling with overwhelming debt and the strain of his duties, which eventually led him to a tragic end. He was found by a coworker one morning, and his death left a lasting impression on those who worked with him. This clerk's office is said to have a somber atmosphere with cold drafts that move through the room even when the windows are closed. Employees who have worked in the building after the incident report hearing sighs and the rustling of paper late at night as if the clerk's spirit still lingers, haunted by his unfinished work. Another story involves the watchman or city worker who was maintaining the clock tower. During a stormy night, he supposedly slipped and fell from the tower. The details surrounding his death are hazy, but it's said that he landed in such a way that he left his broken body entangled in the scaffolding, only to be discovered the next day by horrified coworkers. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
Visitors claim to see strange lights or shadows flickering in the clock tower windows, especially when it rains. The apparition of a figure is occasionally seen by people passing by, looking out from the tower as if keeping watch over the city below. Some people believe it's this unfortunate worker eternally bound to the tower where he met his end. Due to the building's long history, it's likely that other deaths or tragic events were undocumented. In the early 20th century, it wasn't uncommon for accidents or deaths to go unreported, especially if the individuals involved were deemed unimportant by officials. One of the most famous spirits of the building, Gus, is a mischievous presence tied to the Tacoma Bar and Grill, once on the ground floor. Believed to be a maintenance man or former inmate, Gus loves attention. He's known for knocking bottles off shelves without breaking them, especially to startle new employees. A former bartender told HauntedHouses.com in 2020, quote, "Talk to him and he stops." Gus also flicks lights off and slams doors, his antics playful but unnerving. In 2020, Pretty Gritty Tours guide Chris Staudinger shared a tale about Gus, the prankster ghost. During the Tacoma Bar and Grill's opening, the stove mysteriously stopped working, only to restart flawlessly after. New employees faced Gus's initiation. Liquor bottles were knocked off shelves one by one without breaking. Staudinger says he stops when you acknowledge him. He just needs attention.
Poor Gus.
I know.
Gus.
I know. And the tale of a ghostly janitor at Old Tacoma City Hall is one of the most enduring and chilling stories tied to the building. His presence is often described as quiet but unnerving. He's seen moving through the corridors, seemingly still committed to his duties long after his passing. The janitor was said to have worked at Old Tacoma City Hall during the early 1900s. He was known to be a solitary figure dedicated to his work and not particularly friendly with other people. Some said he was a man of few words, quietly cleaning the building each night long after the city's officials and workers have gone home. After the years, he developed a reputation as someone who was often overlooked and mistreated by those in positions of power. Stories suggest he was sometimes forced to work long hours and was poorly compensated. Workers and visitors to the building have reported feeling unexpected cold spots in areas where the janitor was known to work. In the dead of night, people have described the sensation of cold drafts moving through otherwise warm rooms, and these areas often align with sightings of a shadowy figure, sometimes accompanied by faint sounds of sweeping and shuffling footsteps. Witnesses claim to have seen the ghostly janitor in his work uniform appearing as a translucent figure moving purposely down the hallways. He's often spotted in the basement where the old jail cells were located around the upper floors. One recurring detail in these stories is the sounds of jangling keys, a distinct metal. That's creepy to me, hearing nobody there and you hear janitor's keys. Distinct metallic clinking that echoes down the hallway, sometimes accompanied by the faint rustling of his janitorial tools. Some say that when they try to follow the sounds, they find nothing but empty corridors. The ghostly janitor seems to continue his nightly rounds, still tending to the building as if it were his duty. People have heard the unmistakable swish of a broom or the sound of someone polishing floors, especially late at night. There are even accounts of freshly cleaned areas appearing mysteriously, although no one was physically cleaning them. I wish he'd do my apartment. It's as if he refuses to leave until his work is done, given the haunted state of the building. That might never happen. Security guards and maintenance workers, especially those who work night shifts, are the most common witnesses to the janitor's presence. Some have seen his silhouette by the stairwell, only for the shadow to move the moment they blink. Paranormal investigators have captured audio recordings of unexplained footsteps and the faint rustling of keys, particularly near the old boiler room and basement areas. One chilling story from a security guard tells of encountering the janitor in a reflection on the clock tower's glass. The guard saw a figure in an old-fashioned uniform standing directly behind him, only to turn around and find no one there. There's speculation that the janitor's ghost lingers due to his mistreatment in life. Some believe he might have died while still employed at the city hall, perhaps succumbing to an accident or illness without ever receiving proper recognition for his years of hard work. Others think he might have a deep resentment toward the city officials, which has trapped him there in a form of spectral protest. Another theory is that he just feels protective of the building, as if he's its eternal guardian, committed to ensuring it remains clean and in order, even if that means staying on for eternity as a ghostly custodian.
I prefer that one.
I do too. It's like a Scooby-Doo villain, the ghostly custodian. So there you go. There are some places from Washington and some cryptids from Washington. What do you think?
Good stuff. I always love the strange states.
I do too.
You get such a good variety of.
And like I said, we could do 2 full episodes on Washington because we didn't even go into like Seattle, but we did talk about the Seattle underground, I think in our tunnels episode, if I remember correctly, that the Seattle underground is supposed to be really haunted too. That was where they moved the entire city up and there's still like sidewalks and stuff underneath the city. And that's supposed to be super haunted. But there is Washington. Stephanie, I hope we did it some justice. And now we have 2 letters I want to read. The first, we just got to our mail yesterday, and then we're going to read Erica's long one, which I love. So this one comes from Kyle from Arizona. You didn't see this one, did you? It came in our mail just last night.
No.
You ready? Dear Kurt and Krista, I started listening to your podcast about a year ago and quickly finished up through most of your current catalog. I love cooking at home, and it's become my tradition to listen in the kitchen or while at home doing housework. I love that.
I do too.
Once I caught up, I started from the beginning, this time listening to more of the pre- and post-topic banter and not listening to any new episodes. I was so saddened to hear that this is your last season, and that is what has caused me to write in. You truly are like friends, and I hope you are okay and produce something else, if not the Strange Sessions. I don't know any context, as I haven't listened to any current season episodes, but I wish you both the best. I was introduced to the paranormal many years ago by a podcast called Stuff They Don't Want You to Know, which is a good podcast. They interviewed a documentarian about aliens and UFOs, and that was my first paranormal love. Since then, I've been interested in any paranormal topic. However, I haven't had anything strange happen to me physically. The only thing I experience are synchronicities, which aren't as concrete as other more physical encounters. But here's the story of my craziest coincidence. I was listening to a podcast during my commute, and they were talking about a man who was abducted onto a UFO. There were large sheets of latex-like material of different colors on the wall. He looked at the black sheet, and he saw a hand coming out towards him through the sheet. And he said, quote, "Oh no, not the black one." And then literally 4 seconds later, I went past a car that had a license plate that read THEBLK1. Isn't that weird?
Interesting.
I know only 4 seconds had passed because I paused and looked at the time and rewound and played it again. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Besides that, I have been seeing 333 everywhere, not just the clock. It could be on a license plate, money, points, grades, etc. They say it means I'm on the right path. For the past year, I've really been working on myself and trying to tap into the power of my own mind, meditation, etc. Here's one for you Wisconsinites. I once was thinking about how I hadn't seen my 333s much lately, and then very soon after, my friend told me that his work sells a 99 pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon, and I looked at a picture. It was a super long pack, and it said right on the front it consisted of 3 by 33 cans. So I love a beer synchronicity. Anyways, I hope you can read this on your show. I wish you all the best, and I'm nervous but excited to hear what's happening with you guys in the show once I catch up. The Strange Sessions will always be one of my favorite podcasts. Maybe I'll listen from the beginning again for a third time, maybe in a few years. Kyle from Arizona.
So nice.
Thank you, Kyle.
We love our synchronicities.
Yeah, and I feel like people that backlog the show and hold off, like here we're quitting, and they're like, what's going on?
Yeah, because they're not up to speed on what's happening.
I mean, I'm still planning
wrong.
on being around in some, I still want to do Stranged and Confused. I want to do my one about randonauting and the dice living. Krista wants to be done. She'll make appearances.
Yep.
I still think you should do a cooking one or do like a short video podcast. you know.
After a long break.
After a long
we'll
break.
See. The video stuff is just so much work, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the return on it is not, great.
It is. We should have.
I don't want to do something that feels like work.
No, and that's.
I already have a full-time job. That's
it can quickly become that when you have like a bi-weekly podcast, and then you don't do it one week, and
maybe it were monthly, it'd be different.
That wouldn't be bad.
I'm looking forward to the break from social media too.
I'm wondering. I'm assuming I'm going to keep the Strange Sessions hotline number and just transition it to the days to Strange and Confused.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Am I going to keep the website and just keep posting it on the Strange Sessions website?
You could.
And then it's just a spin-off of the web of the Strange Sessions.
Yeah,
but
you absolutely could.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Hopefully, I wonder when he'll listen to this. He'll probably hear this in the future,
like next year sometime or something.
But it's a very mutual decision. And Krista originally wanted to, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to. But then the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
10 years is a long.
It feels
run.
like it's time, and I love that. Stranged and Confused is way more of a niche podcast where it'll just be people that really. It's just so focused on 70s.
You're going to get a lot of strangers listening to it.
I hope so.
Sure. Yeah.
I hope so.
Maybe give him a heads up that you read his email, and maybe he'll at least listen to this episode.
Yeah. Yep. And now we get to the long letter from Erica, and I absolutely love this letter. So are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. Settle back. Grab a sandwich. Grab a
blanket.
drink.
Okay.
You ready? Monday, February 9th, 2026. Kurt and Krista. Add me to your list of huge fans with a heart. I just love you guys and your show. I have been so excited to write this letter to you and am a little nervous about my punctuation, being that you both studied English, and I've only written one other fan letter to New Kids on the Block back in the late 80s.
Girl.
I was
a fan too.
I was like 7 or 8.
Love it.
I am a huge fan of all things strange and unusual. Thank you for popularizing that term, Lydia Dietz. I don't know who Lydia Dietz is. I might have to look that up, that she popularized strange and unusual.
Oh, yeah.
So naturally, the History Channel...
Lydia Dietz, that's from... Why can't... It's Winona Ryder from Beetlejuice.
I've never seen Beetlejuice.
Oh, it's
that's
so
why
good.
I don't know that. People got so offended that I've never seen Beetlejuice.
Yeah. It's classic.
So naturally, the History Channel, Lifetime, A&E, TLC, the Travel Channel, Sci-Fi, and Destination America have been a part of my regular TV viewing since 1998. In fact, when I was in college back in the day, my class schedule was split 3 days a week, so on those days I'd go over to my grandma's house during my break because she lived closer to the school than I did. We'd have lunch while I watched the Montel Williams show because the only, quote, psychic my grandma believed had the power, other than my mom, was Sylvia Brown, and for years she had a weekly segment on Montel's show. Afterwards, we'd watch the newest episode of A Haunting until I had to go back to class. That sounds so cool.
Love those shows.
Anyways, after watching the 2024 documentary, The Mandela Effect Phenomenon, in March of last year, I searched online for podcasts that discussed glitches in the Matrix, time travel and time slips, parallel universes, and the Mandela Effect. The most referred to PCast, my word for podcast, was Radio Rental, hosted by Rainn Wilson, Dwight on The Office, who narrates in his character Terry Carnation. Episodes are 30 to 40 minutes and include 2 to 3 horror stories / true crime experiences sent in and told by listeners. At the time I began listening, there were only 75 episodes, excluding the extra bonus episodes. Being out of work with the renovation project at hand, I was quickly caught up in 5 days. Even though Terry Carnation is hilarious and Radio Rental is a good podcast, I was looking for something that also delved into the various phenomena that was discussed, not just a collection of listener stories. I do very much love and appreciate listener stories, as I have been experiencing strange things ever since I was young, but I wanted the context behind the strangeness, the deep dive. So I then decided to just search within the podcast app, and that's when I came across the Strange Sessions. I was instantly hooked. I listened every day from the end of March to the end of July, took a break here and there every once in a while, and I finally got caught up on January 1st of this year. I have to say, it's weird to be caught up on the podcast. The podcasts I listen to that are all on a current break, because all of the current TV shows I watch are also on break. Haha. Well, look out, books. Here I come, I guess. I actually stumbled upon Let's Not Meet and have been listening to that. but it's nowhere near the same or nearly as good as the Strange Sessions.
Aw.
I am so saddened that this upcoming season will be your last. I feel as if I just took this very intense, albeit very short journey with you that came to a screeching halt before our last leg, only to say goodbye at the end of the year. I know you've said that it won't be, quote, goodbye, and even if it isn't, I wanted to tell you both how much I've enjoyed becoming a fan over the past almost year. I haven't joined the Facebook group she has since.
Okay.
Nor visited the Strange Sessions website yet. There's nothing there. But I will as soon as I send this letter. Apologies for the delay. Hashtag bad fan. Hashtag last minute Lucy. That's what I call myself. I'm a last minute Lucy too. As indicated above, it can be difficult to find a podcast to one's liking, especially when the hosts are unknown to the public, but you two are the cream of the crop.
Aw.
I love that you are real, true to yourselves, down-to-earth people who aren't out there for merit. We're definitely not out there
Nope.
for merit because we would not get any. Another thing I love about you is your friendship. I'm not too far behind you both in age. I just turned 45 on New Year's Eve. And like any other older adult, and like many other older adults have commented, I can also attest that the number of friendships we have that are maintained dwindle over time as we age. I can tell how close you two are and how strong the bond is of your friendship is just by the way you interact. That is not easy to come by, and even in the longest of friendships, it can be rare. I know us listeners only get a few hours snippet each week, but even as individuals, you guys emit an energy that's not only warm, kind, and genuine, but also welcoming. This is why all of us fans feel as if we're already friends with you. It's no wonder that your friendship was meant to be, and I thank you for sharing it with the world ad-free. I love
Goodness.
that. I also want to thank you both for this podcast. I never expected to find one with such friendly, relatable hosts who also purposely avoid including political bias, which is so refreshing, especially in the world today. Thank you for your deep diving as much as possible into each subject. You've been very educational, and I've learned a lot of things, including new information I didn't know before on topics I already knew about, as well as new topics that I'd never even heard of before. The Strange Sessions is a very well-rounded, and it's very well done. I will be a fan for life. To Krista, Halloween is also my favorite. Heart. Most of my home decor came from Halloween sections of the major craft stores over the years, kind of like you. Those who don't care for Halloween just don't get it. Dazed and Confused is tied with Spaceballs for my second favorite movie. Clue with Tim Curry, Christopher Lloyd, Martin Mull, etc. is my all-time number one. That is a good movie.
I haven't seen that in a very long time.
I feel like it was kind of a flop in the theater, but it's
feel
just
like I
got
need to
such a
rewatch
cult
it. Yeah.
status now. My friends have been more than annoyed from hearing me constantly quote, check you later at random goodbyes and watch the Leatherman when getting into my car for the past 32 and a half years. Fun little side fact number one, I had such a crush on Slater back in 93 when the movie came out. It was the long hair and laid-back stoner personality that did it for me back then. I had no idea who Rory Cochrane was, so you can imagine my surprise when I saw him 2 years later in Empire Records, all clean cut with short hair. Fun side fact number two, Dazed and Confused is the only Matthew McConaughey movie I've seen. And before you say anything, no, I haven't seen Magic Mike. I'm guessing that it's one of the very few, one of the very few straight females that had no desire to see that movie.
I've never seen it either, and I have no desire.
Okay, then you and Erica are soulmates.
She should watch A Time to Kill. That's a great Matthew McConaughey movie. It's like a modern retelling of
I really
To Kill a
liked
Mockingbird.
Interstellar. I finally saw Interstellar.
Interstellar's really good too.
Holy cow. And then
it's a mind melter,
it is
though.
a mind effer. And then Kurt. I personally enjoy hearing the stories you read from Reddit, so F the haters.
So do I.
Yeah.
A creepy story is a creepy story, whether it's true or not. I don't know.
Exactly. And I like the titillating 20 taste tests and song recommendations. Also, I've been out of work for over 2 years now, so I empathized along with you during your job losses and searches that you've shared. It's rough out here. Furthermore, I have your same sleep schedule, so I get it. Take care, you two, and stay warm. I have family in Muskegon, one block from the lake, and Zeeland, Minnesota? Zeeland, Michigan. Isn't Zeeland? Yeah, Zeeland's in Michigan.
I don't know where Zeeland is.
That
I know where
sounds
Muskegon
super familiar
is.
to me, and I don't know why. Zeeland, Michigan, and a cousin in Chicago. They've sent me pictures and videos of the snow on the beach and roads this winter season. I replied that I'm sure all of us over here in the Northwest Mountain region area of the U.S. are secretly thinking, finally, we get a break from it. And it had been in the 50s and 60s and 70s here for over a month. Yesterday, Super Bowl Sunday, it was 64. However, it is snowing and sleeting It was such a weird spring. I mean,
It's
right now
been
Arizona is
crazy.
just hit with like over 100 degrees
Yeah,
every
I
day.
saw that.
It's raining and sleeting on and off today, but we've only had 2 snowstorms, at least in my area this season. Fingers crossed. Your newest official fan, Erica. P.S. If you ever choose to do Montana as a Strange States episode, you will have no problem finding information for practically every city, ghost town, mine, prison, mountain range, and prairie land, plus more. P.P.S. You have my permission to read any part or all of this letter and any of the other contents I've included on the air. And then she sent this list of a few of my favorite episodes that are permanently tattooed in my brain of our show.
Nice.
And a list of like the paranormal TV shows and what she thinks. So it's really cool.
That's really cool.
So Erica, we love you.
We do.
Thank you so much for sending this.
Still, my favorite compliment we get from anyone to this day is that we feel like a friend.
Yeah.
That is just
So many people
I can't
say,
think of a higher
I
compliment.
know so many
than
people
that.
say our podcast for them is like sitting in the back seat and listening to your 2 friends
Yeah.
in the front seat talk about
That's
weird stuff. I
special.
love that. I do.
Me too. Oh, we almost forgot. In
Oh,
honor of the late great Chuck Norris, we
passed
have this
away.
he passed away last week. We have this 400 facts about the world's greatest human book, and I was reading. We used to read something from it because we even have like a bookmark in here where we stopped.
did we? Was that must have
Yeah,
been way
someone
back.
I think sent
that had to
this
be
to us
way
or-
back in
oh,
the
yeah,
earliest
we were at the
seasons.
school.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was
so, like,
reading them.
I was
and
thinking the other day how weird it is. I mean, that was 10 years
I
ago.
know. I
It's
know.
crazy to me because I feel like we haven't been doing this that long. But in
Same.
my head, when I'm like, oh my god,
I'm like 5 years. Yeah,
I'm
we've
like,
been doing this like
this
4
was
or 5
before
years.
COVID, like 3 years before COVID happened. We were
Yeah.
doing this during COVID.
I mean,
The
our
COVID
last house we lived there 8 years, and we were
Yeah.
doing it before we lived there.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was reading through some of these off air before, and I was like, wow, these are really inappropriate.
Yeah. There's some
And also
very-
like really offensive.
Yeah,
like I had
there's-
to search to find one that I could actually read on
this
here.
isn't one that we can just pick up and read a random one out and be
No,
like, whoops, we shouldn't have
no.
said that.
So anyway, in honor of Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris is currently suing NBC, claiming law and order are trademark names for his left and right legs.
Okay, I like that one. Yeah, I can't believe he died.
I know.
I
I mean,
was
he
never-
was in his like upper 80s though, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he lived
In
a
my
long
head, he's
life.
always like he was on Walker,
Totally.
Texas
I
Ranger.
feel like or in those Bowflex. No, what he was doing like some exercise equipment commercials for a long time, and I was like, dang, he still looks good. But
Was it the Weight
that
Shake?
Was probably like 20 years ago. I don't
was
even
it called
know.
Weight Shake? That
No,
stupid
it
thing
was-
that you would hold and it would
Maybe,
go.
but he did like a whole system. I can't remember what it was, but I'm sure he was very healthy right up until whatever went wrong.
I wish I could remember.
And they didn't say the cause of death.
No, but yeah, because when I saw him recently, it's like, okay, he was pretty old.
Yeah.
You know,
I haven't seen him recently, so in my head he was still that guy on the cover of that book.
is there anything else?
I don't think so.
I'm going to throw one song thing in here because this girl is up there with Ginger Z. Like, I am insanely in love with this artist. And I didn't put it in here, so I didn't really look it up. But the video I'm going to put, I just have such a crush on her. I just love her. The song is called 9 Lives, and it's by a singer named Little Luna. And she's actually an actress that was like in a Disney show, and now she just does music.
Okay.
And it just showed up randomly in my suggested music, and I listened to it, and I'm like, I love this song. I love her. She does like YouTube is like her songs, and then she's doing like mindfulness yoga and stuff like that. She's got this like 70s vibe.
Little Luna?
Little Luna. Like,
Okay.
I absolutely adore this song, 9 Lives. And I'm like, this is so good. It should have been a hit. And nobody really knows about
Now
her.
they will.
Now they will. Now it's
All
going to blow up.
52 people who
It's-
listen.
It's going to totally blow up. So it is the song 9 Lives by Little Luna. I will post it in the group. And do we have anything else
Nope.
other than deets?
We're officially over 2 hours, so this
Are you
ended up being a
serious?
long one. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we'll just rush through this ending. So email us at thestrangesessions@gmail.com. We are on Instagram, where Krista does an awesome job at The Strange Sessions, and we love our Instagram listeners.
We do.
You can send postcards. We haven't got any mail. I've been checking, and there's nothing. You can send postcards and snail mail to The Strange Sessions, P.O. Box 434, Manitowoc, Wisconsin, 54221-0434. And you can call our lonely phone line that we go so long without a call that I have to text it from my phone
To keep it
number to
active?
keep it active.
Oh, funny.
So there's like a text thing on my phone that's like a chat between me and me from this.
A one-sided
it's
chat.
Weird. Yeah, it's very weird. It is 920-443-9602, and you can always send listener stories to the Strange Session Stories at gmail.com, and we will have a listener stories, our last official listener stories episode this season. Is that number 2 in the books?
Number 2.
We are winding down, folks. We are doing our Strange Sessions victory lap. We are getting near the end. Way the world's going, we're going to blow up before we end the podcast anyway. So
you won't have enough gas to get here.
No, oh my God, I know. They're talking that things could get bad.
I know.
Like they're going to enforcing carpool stuff.
In other countries,
I mean, worst came to worst.
Yeah.
The bus stops right outside my apartment and it stops where I work. So the worst came to worst, I could take that.
Yeah.
But it's scary times out there, folks. Scarier than anything that we had in a podcast, except for Mimic. Mimics are maybe scarier.
Mimics are pretty scary.
So we love you guys. We will see you in 2 weeks with Antarctica.
Yeah, Antarctica.
Weirdness about Antarctica. Oh, remind me to show you something that made me laugh. I can't. It's not appropriate for the air.
Okay.
So we love you guys. We will be back in 2 weeks. Anything else, Krista?
Nope.
Anything else, Willie? Nope. We will see you guys soon. Love you guys, and until next time, stay strange.